Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, that seems to be working beautifully. Yeah, I got the mask out so I can give the quick hellos and stuff like that. I don't believe I grabbed like a camera sock though, so I can't turn it off. So just got to point it downwards. We're still 1 minute before 9, and even then I'm probably going to give it a couple minutes to see if anybody else files in. Okay, but it is now 9 o'clock. So I'd like to welcome you to my live stream. Anybody else who might be tuning into this after the fact, after it is streamed, I also welcome you. Going to kick it off here in a couple of minutes. Going to give it, like I said, a few more, probably till about 9:05. Maybe say hello to people as they file in. If they file in, we'll go from there. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, well, I mean, I premiere on Saturdays. I'm assuming that that's what you mean. But the streams I do once a month as well. I'm kicking those back up now as well because I couldn't get the streaming to work for a few months, but apparently now I can. So these types of streams will be once a month, and stories are still every Saturday. I know that it's not everybody can show up at certain times on certain days, and that's why YouTube is, the videos there. You can go back and watch it as needed. But very glad to hear that you like my stories. It's it's awesome. That's why I do it. What's up there, Hillbilly? How are you? Yeah, the premieres, Warrior. Yep. Yeah, that's okay. You're there in spirit. So, um, it's up there, Hillbilly. We're giving it a couple of minutes. I figure about 9:05, and then I'll introduce the stream and what we're doing, what I'm reading, and we'll go from there. We'll see if anybody else files in. Guess we'll just do like a little minor, chat Q&A. How you doing for the next 3 minutes? I'm doing good. Hanging out, surviving the pandemic, quarantine. Good stuff. I honestly don't mind it. I like my home. I like my family. So, if I had my way, this would just be normal life. Yeah, it's good to be I guess social distancing isn't a big deal when you're already socially distant. Oops, sorry about the flash there. That was my vape smoke. Yeah, I don't blame you. I wouldn't mind if I had the land and I lived near enough to the land that I own. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Unfortunately, it's not feasible at this time. I think I have found myself a camera sock. So I should be able to shut that camera off. You guys still hear me? Good, good. Oh, what made me decide to narrate? It's actually a funny story. I'm going to be touching on that when this is over. Actually, 1999 is kind of what got me into narrating. I mean, I've always liked to write, and this is probably the easiest way to deliver my writing to people. So that's the main reason I continue to write stories and narrate my stories. This is the easiest form, I guess, to publish self-writing. But I guess it started with 1999. I was investigating that story. I liked it a lot, and some creepy stuff happened to me, and kind of just blossomed from there. I started publishing my findings, and people started liking the stories, and I started just writing and putting up other stories as well, and it bloomed. So that's kind of how I got into it. Good. Glad everybody can still hear me. All right, we're at 9:05. Okay. There we are. All right, I'd like to welcome you all to my live stream. Glad you were able to make it. Tonight I'm going to be reading They Won't Stop Knocking. Again, I apologize ahead of time for any screw-ups and mess-ups that might happen. It's bound to happen. Very glad that you were able to make it. Glad that you're here. And I guess, yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll kick it off. I said I would read, so let's get some reading done. Hit my vape real quick. Again, I do apologize ahead of time for anything I might mess up here. Sip. I know, a little over preparing, but never hurts. I call this one, They Won't Stop Knocking. I can't take it anymore. When I first decided to move out here in the middle of nowhere, it was for the peace and quiet. I lived in the country growing up, but during the Excuse me, somebody just fell over in a chair behind me. I am going to go take care of that and just start this over real quick. Just give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Minor, I guess you could call that a technical difficulty. All right, let's kick this one off again. A little bit less background noise. They won't stop knocking. I can't take it anymore. When I first decided to move out here in the middle of nowhere, it was for the peace and quiet. I lived in the country growing up, but during the majority of my young adult life, I've been forced to live in more urban areas. However, hard work and a dab of good luck has awarded me the luxury of acquiring a quaint little cottage in the middle of God's green nowhere. One would think that the middle of nowhere would be a quiet place, full of chirps from birds and bugs, rustling leaves, and other subtle sounds that go unnoticed in more populated areas. And that's the way it was for a time. That is, until my family had gone. And now, it just won't stop. It's been nearly a week now, and every night, just as I'm falling asleep, the knocking begins. A loud, constant thudding on the front door, too rhythmic, too purposeful to be the wind or some other such natural occurrence. At first, I could barely hear them. I can remember it like it happened just yesterday. It had been raining the night when excuse me. It had been raining the night when I had retired to bed. The pitter-patter of those little raindrops helped me to drift off into a blissful rest. The rain must have picked up as I slept, because when I awoke, the world outside my bedroom window was mid-torrential downpour. In fact, I figured that it had been the storm that had roused me, and quite possibly could have. But as the rain and wind began to dissipate, a low, resonant, monotone sound began to emerge from behind it. It was a faint, very faint, rhythmic thumping. It was so inaudible, I at first thought it to be the last few lingering raindrops from the storm well past its prime. But further regression of the storm revealed a persistence I could not ignore. Of course, upon my first investigation, I had no prior knowledge on which to contrast upon, so I had to slowly and methodically follow the sound I could barely hear to its source. This forced me into continuous pauses with pricked ears, probing an otherwise silent house for the direction I should take my next few steps. Then I'd repeat this process. By the time I had honed in on the sound, many minutes had passed. To make things even more curious, when I came to the front door and peered outside the small window at the top, the noise stopped. I mean literally, the second my eyeballs crossed the threshold at the bottom rim of that pane of glass, the dull thudding sound instantly ceased. Outside, there was nothing. Nothing moved except for the gentle, almost imperceptible sway of dark trees against a starry backdrop. There wasn't an abundance of illumination, but enough moonlight provided the means to reassure myself that nothing was there. In fact, the sound itself was so quiet, I was able to brush the instance off as a trick of the mind, possibly the remnants of rain dripping from the roof. The fact was, there was a million possible explanations, but none of those would help me to avoid the work obligations I had the following morning. So, assured that there was nothing trying to get my attention, and a little miffed at myself for losing sleep over what I thought was nothing, I sauntered back towards my bedroom to finish up the last bit of a good night's rest. I must have slept pretty hard the rest of the night, because the alarm was blaring when I opened my eyes, and had been doing so for minutes without waking me. 6 minutes may not sound like a lot to most of you, but I really like to sleep. Because of this, I have my alarm set to sound off 20 minutes before I have to leave to begin. Because of this, I have to set my alarm to sound off 20 minutes before I have to leave to begin my 20-minute commute. Between showering, shaving, getting dressed, and gathering my belongings for the day, 20 minutes is just enough time to do all this. Now, I instead only had 14 minutes. I could have skipped the shower, but I hate feeling soiled all day long. Plus, I work as a hiring manager in my new position, and smelling like foul body odor would not present the best representation of our company. I suppose I might have noticed the side yard while getting prepared in the bathroom mirror beside the window. Beside the window, if I had had more time to pay everything a little more attention. But when I walked outside to get into my car, I had no choice but to give it notice. The side yard in the back left corner, a place where earth never seemed to grow any grass, always looking barren and freshly tilled. I'll admit, although I tried my very hardest, I could not shake the presentation of my backyard this morning before I left for work. I tried my best to conduct my interviews, ask probing follow-up questions to answers provided by candidates. Basically all the guesswork without the crystal ball, and, in my opinion, I did a pretty good job staying on task. Still, that lingering image, the memory of the after-hours knocking, as mild and subtle as it was, during the earliest of morning hours, and deep down, I already knew the two incidents had to be related. But rationale and a universe dictated by logic and physics helped my assumptions. Excuse me. But rationale and a universe dictated by logic and physics held my assumptions at bay. For only a madman would claim to make such correlations with such instances. Without the impossible to literally stare into my face, I could not make that leap. However, that very same night, I would get my chance. When I finally did return home from work, after what turned out to be a very long and arduous day, to be honest, the event had all but slipped my mind. I would like to say it was because I had finally wrestled both incidents into reason, but in actuality, the shit-ass drivers where I live and the commute had made me so furious, all of it had rested into the back recesses of my consciousness. That is, until I pulled into the driveway, the side yard completely visible from where I now sat in my parked car. Of course, the sight of the obscurity forced my previous night and morning into the forefront of my thoughts, and once again, I found myself befuddled. At this point, I was more concerned for the barren earth than I was the knocking. Hell, I still wasn't convinced that the muffled knocking noises were even there to begin with. Forgoing the relationship between these two things, I researched any and all causes for the discrepancies presented by the lawn off to the side of my house. Maybe there was too much rain recently. I suppose it could have washed away any seed, I reasoned to myself. Convinced the whole thing was nothing more than a set of benign circumstances, I polished off the night with some Black Ops 3 and a microwaved dinner before retiring at a decent time to my bedroom to hopefully catch up on some of the sleep I had lost the night before. This time, the sound was not only slightly louder, there was no encumbering storm to drown out its noise. I was sure I had heard it this time, and as I lay awake, eyes open, still, and staring into the dark with my ears pricked, it happened again. And now I was sure. This time, I already had a pretty good idea of where the sound was coming from, so I methodically made my way, silently, towards the front door, making that my primary object of focus, to start with anyway. At this time, while I made my approach, my assumption was solidified by the increased volume in the knocking, causing me to alter my plans and head for a nearby window instead. This time, I hoped to catch sight of whatever or whoever was making this noise, thinking that if I spied at them from the side, that maybe surprise would be on my side as well. Near to the front door, excuse me. Near to my front door, there are two relatively small porthole-like windows, only square in shape, and each covered well with closed Venetian blinds. Pulling a seam apart slowly in the middle, I peeked through the now open area, looking towards the door in order to see the source. Once again, the noise had stopped, and there was nobody there. That didn't make any sense because I had heard the knocking only seconds earlier. The perpetrator would have to have had wings in order to abscond so quickly. Yet, in the distance of the dark, getting closer and closer to the back corner of the side yard, I saw what I can only describe as a shadowy mass sauntering away. It was slow, somewhat wobbly on 2 feet, mostly upright, and moving away from the door, but at least a good 40 feet away when I had first saw it. Something that had made that distance in such a short amount of time should not be progressing so slowly. Of course, my initial reaction was to check out whatever that presence was, to call out to it from the porch out front. But again, by the time I'd opened the door, losing sight of it for only a moment, the thing, or things, had vanished, presenting me with nothing but near-perfect darkness and the tranquil sounds of midnight insects and birds. Inspection, curiosity, and frustration held my attention for quite a while after that, but none of it was enough to force me away from bed and subsequent sleep entirely. That night, I had feverish dreams of police, rotten smells, the dead devouring the living, and hateful, vengeful eyes with a burning stare. I would elaborate more fully on the details of these bad dreams and terrible sequences, but upon awakening the following day, I can only remember discombobulated details of no sequential order. In fact, the only real way I knew my dreams to be nightmares is the panicked state that I awoke in. If there was anything of importance to recall, it had been forgotten within the first 5 minutes of trying to remember. All I know is that when I did open my eyes, my body and mind were both at the end of fight or flight response. There were no markings on the front steps or porch, no footprints in the mud, grass, or dirt, nothing to indicate that there had been anything there the night before. But there was. I was sure of that, and I had almost caught a glimpse of it. I was almost self-convinced to go out and buy and then set up an elaborate security system, mainly the cameras, but I figured I would give it one more night to see if the time and expense to go such a route would really be worth it. It would have been, and I have since installed said cameras. Because what I saw that night, I'm not even sure if I can bear it again. On the third night, and every night thereafter since, I have been awoken by more than just a terrible, subtle thudding, a very loud, prominent banging noise, as if someone or something has been pounding on the front door without cessation. I'll never forget what I saw, peeking my eyes through those blinds for a second time. The banging stopped, just like it had done on the previous nights, but on this night, I was not greeted with the sight of silent, dark, early morning, but instead with the image of 2 bloodshot eyes glaring inches from my own with a burning, hateful stare, weary yet energized and beaming with rage, yellow and necrotic, unseen in this state, yet more familiar, more recognizable. It took me a second, sure, but that was mostly due to denial. There was no way. That was impossible, yet there they were, reinforced by the 2 pairs of gleaming eyes behind the figure belonging to the figures, both standing motionlessly in the near dark. It was then that I decided against confrontation and ran upstairs like a little girl, hiding under my covers from both the monsters outside and my penance to follow. The following morning, I skipped work and went shopping instead. It only took me a few hours to hook everything up. I haven't laid eyes on any of them since, only their depiction in the security monitor every single night. They will not leave me alone, and it's not like I can go to the police. But I suppose I've brought all of this upon myself. the dead patches of earth in the side yard and all. Now, the cameras have gone out and, excuse me. Now, the cameras have all gone out, and I can't say for sure, but I think they're inside, because the front door is wide open. Sure, I should have never murdered my wife and kids, but in retrospect, maybe the dumbest thing to do was to bury them all in the side yard. And that was They Won't Stop Knocking. Personally, I think there was much less screw-ups this time than last live reading. So I do hope you all enjoyed this story a lot. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to take a breather, hit my vape, take a quick sip of my drink. I'll be right back with you. Please post a comment. I have not been reading them as I've been reading. I've been trying to focus. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I am back. I got to go grab my party favor and turn my air conditioner back on because it is getting warm in here, but the microphone is live, so I'm here. Cinnamon spice pockets. Anybody's welcome to go over to the microphone and say hello at this point. Do you have the big thing? Thank you very much, Warrior. Very much appreciated. I tried. I hope you guys liked that story. It's actually a story I totally forgot that I wrote. I was digging through my hard drive of all the stories that I had written. Now, granted, I've not always been the best at saving my stories. I usually put them into a folder or another folder, and sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I put them on a desktop, and then I copied everything to an external hard drive, but didn't really sort anything. I just kind of copied and pasted desktop, folder, whatever. So I was digging through there looking for a story that I had written before and came across that one. So I was like, hey, I should read this. And it was actually between that and another story that I had found that I had been looking for a really long time, which is Button Eyes. That story is based off of SCP-190, actually. Not too many stories have I written were based off of SCPs, but that one was. Sorry about that, Alex. I will be reposting this story. I'm going to be re-editing my narration, putting it together with music and sound effects and stuff like that. So, I mean, you're more welcome to recheck out this stream or check out the story once it's all whipped up.
I'm here now. Hello.
That is my child, Cinnamon Spice on YouTube, saying hello.
Beep.
Well, thunder and lightning with the reading of the story, I hope went very well together. So yeah, it's party favors. Smoke them if you got them. But if you guys have any questions about anything, by all means, please go ahead, post them in the comments, stuff like that. Did also want to go ahead and say that I believe it was Warrior brought this up why I started narrating, and I brought up 1999. I don't know if any of you know the story 1999, Mr. Bear, Caledon, Local 21, all that stuff. You can find it on YouTube now. I've seen people re-upload Creeps McCosta's old 99 video, and it's not taken down yet. But the reason why they're not on the narrators channels anymore, it's harder to find that story. is because there's somebody going, I don't know if this person is actually the original writer or if this person's lying. I've never seen any proof. I once received an email because I narrated 1999 as well, from somebody claiming to have written 1999 originally, but it was plagiarized and stolen from them and posted on the Creepypasta wiki, and the person that posted it there was not the original author, that this person was the original author. And they said that if I did not take down my 1999 video and every related 1999 video from my channel, that they would have to strike each one of the videos and they wouldn't have a choice. And you know how YouTube works. YouTube doesn't really look into things. They just say, oh, it's a strike. Well, it looks like your channel is striked, and that's it. They don't really have any kind of system. Hold on. Oh, hey, SGD, what's going on? Glad you could make it as well. I did see you commenting earlier. Actually, as the News Titans, you weren't very late at all. Just want to let you know that. Anyway, so 1999, I had to take it down off my channel. Everybody had to take it down off their channel because basically every narrator on YouTube all got the same email. Take down the channel or I'm going to strike the video. So everybody takes down the video. The thing about my channel is, now Warrior Princess kind of brought this topic up. I got into narrating because I was originally investigating 1999. I listened to the story one day while I was working construction, and I thought it was really interesting. I came home, I started looking at things, and I ended up replying to the email that the guy ended up giving to Elliot at the end of the story. And I ended up getting a response back, and I started digging deeper and found out some pretty creepy things. And this is all real. So I ended up writing a story about it and posting it on YouTube, and it didn't stop there. I actually, looking back, I had a stalker. I had someone stalking me, sending me threatening emails, photographs, videos, all kinds of things. And I was documenting these things. This person was claiming to be Mr. Bear from the story 1999. I don't think it was Mr. Bear. I never really did. I honestly thought it was just some crazy copycat. But the point is there was like 9 stories that I guess you could call them fan fiction or side stories or a continuation, whatever you would want to call it. But there was a big part of why my original channel got so big. So not only did I have to take those videos down forever, I can never re-upload them to this channel either. So that is the story of 1999, why it is no longer available, and how I kind of got into creepypastas, because of a stalker. But on a side note, I do have all of those stories downloaded and uploaded again onto a Google Drive. Well, I actually downloaded them. I gave them to a friend of mine. He uploaded them to a Google Drive. So basically, I can't upload them to my channel. But if any of you guys want to hear or see those stories, exactly what they entailed, what happened, there was a conclusion. There's like 9 stories to it, but there ended up being a definitive conclusion to the stories. If you guys still are, if you're interested, you want the stories, I actually can provide you a link where you can download all of them or just watch them on the internet. So if you guys want to send me a message on Facebook as Sabian Lockhart, or on Twitter as Sociopathic Pasta. Both those things are spelled out on the top of my channel page, right on the top on the picture. Just go ahead and send me a message, and I can hook you up with all the 1999 stories, at least for your own personal viewing. I'm not trying to push Creeps McPasta's narration of 1999. I didn't narrate it. I'm not trying to say that 1999 wasn't plagiarized. I'm not trying to say that, I have rights to the story. But what I am saying is what happened to me did happen to me. Whether the copycat was basing himself off of a plagiarized character or If he was actually a psychopath and he's the person that it doesn't matter. The point is those things happen to me, and personally, I feel like I have a right to share that with whoever I want to share that with. Um, I don't care if I make money off of it. I don't care if I get views off of it. But if it's a story that you guys are interested in hearing, by all means, like I said, I will hook you up. Favorite narrations in videos. Like I said, 1999's and the Locust Lakes would be there. But now I guess you could say just the Locust Lakes. I love that series. And the Locust Lakes, I started my series or started my old channel because of 1999. That's what got me the startup. But what really kept the channel strong and going for a long time, even as 1999, my experiences concluded, was the Locust Lakes. They became the backbone of my old channel, which is why I'm glad they're still the backbone of this channel. Other stories you I mean, I don't know, a lot of the stories that I love Pen Pal. I'm pretty sure you guys know that. I have to keep muting myself. I am coughing because it's not the Rona. But anyways, so I like Pen Pal. A lot of my stories, obviously, I like them because not because I wrote them, but because I honestly like them. The Devil's Punch Bowl, that's one of my favorite stories, and not just because the story is decent and it's a ritual story, but because it was literally written around a sound effect idea and based upon a real legend that is around a real place, which is also in Susquehanna County, where the Locust Lakes take place. So it's kind of in that same world, I guess you could say. The Return to Dreamscape series by Doughboy420. Loved that series. I will be bringing that back eventually. It's just really hard to work on series videos while I still have Locust Lakes to do. I don't feel like coming out with a Locust Lake and a Dreamscape and All Heroes Don't Wear Capes story every single month. I mean, the channel becomes completely predictable. You're going to know what to expect every single Saturday, and I don't want that. I want some sense of what's next. I want some videos to be, realistic ritual videos, some videos to be about the dark web, some videos to be about supernatural killers. I think there should be a good mix. Baraska was good, not as good as Pen Pal. No End House, loved that story. On a Hill, that was really good. Oh yeah, Susquehanna, Pennsylvania. That is exactly where the Locust Lakes, the Devil's Punch Bowl, Delway's Meat House Diner, the Fence Down the $1 Million Highway, the story that's coming out tomorrow. You'll find that a lot of my stories take place in Susquehanna County, Pennsylvania, and a lot of them are based upon real legends from the area. I mean, I guess that probably shouldn't be too surprising. Pennsylvania is the only state in the country to have an official zombie response team. So, I mean, in like every zombie movie, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Night of the Living, they're all Pennsylvania. Don't Pennsylvania, man. If you're not a fan of horror and don't want to be in one, even like Ludlow Pet Cemetery, that's Ludlow, Pennsylvania. It's a real place. The route that's featured in the second one, the road that they're on, that's a real road. Oh yeah, yep. It's Susquehanna County, Pennsylvania, up north, right next to Binghamton, New York, right on the border. I actually go camping up there at Locust Lake once a month during the summertime. So, any of you guys are ever in the area, again, feel free to shoot me a message on Facebook or Twitter. Let me know that you're going to be in Susquehanna County. I'll try and make it up for the weekend at some point in time if you're going to be around, and we go camping together. It'd be fun. if we survive.
Can't think of it.
So, anyways, yeah, I really did want to go ahead and just put out that I do have the 1999 stories, all of them, not just 1999, not just the ones that are based on me, but also. And by the way, this is a nicotine vape pen. I'm not can't put the other stuff on camera. Not that there would be, but hey, you never know. Um, but I just wanted you guys to know that those stories do still exist. And if you want to hear them again, you think they're lost to time. Anybody that's watching this stream after the fact, after it's done being published, again, if you want these stories, just reach out to me and let me know, and I can help you. I can help you make it happen. So, yep, the original Pet Cemetery and Part 2, they both take place in Pennsylvania, and I imagine the remake is supposed to also. I don't remember. I've only seen the remake once. Hey Kim, I don't know how you did not hear about this ahead of time. I advertised it 2 weeks ago. I posted it on my community tab twice, a week ago and today. I shared it on Twitter, and I shared it in every single group that I'm a member of on Facebook. So, not sure how you missed it. YouTube though, I know they don't like to give out notifications to everybody all the time, which doesn't help things. So it's not your fault. Glad you could make it. Still going to be here for another 20 minutes. If you have any questions, you want to chat, again, like anybody else that might have showed up late, you might have missed the story. You can go back and listen to the live version that you want, or in a few days, I'm sure I'm going to have the mixed version up with music and sound effects and stuff like that. So either one, you're more than welcome to wait for the other one. But glad to have you here now. Warrior Princess got the YouTube notification, but it doesn't send it out to everybody. I hear a lot of people complain that they don't get notifications, and that sucks. But again, you're here now. It's what counts. But I did try to advertise. I tried to shout it from the rooftops, and was like on the fence about it because I'm so nervous about doing live streams all the time anyway. Yeah, I don't get too many notifications for streams. I see it on my subscription list on the side. Excuse me. I see it on my subscription list on the side. But I don't see it in like the notification bell. Apparently I need a drink. All right, I'm gonna try and muscle through this. Excuse me if I start choking. You're gonna have your face on camera just so you know.
Yeah,
There we are. So glad you're all glad I can see y'all, and y'all can see me now. But yeah, see, I don't get the notification bells. I'll see it on the side where I have my subscriptions and see the little red dot for people, but I don't see it on the notification bell. So I just got to keep an eye on that subscription list. That's all. Oh, this over here, that's my little one.
I'm an arm. Hello. Nice to meet you. I'm an arm.
See,
See,
she's a YouTube star in the making.
I'm a lonesome arm. Hello. And hand. So type of keys.
Yeah, she's a pip. But very glad that you guys all stopped by. I'm trying to think. Yeah, so I'm going to bring back the Dreamscape series. And again, not sure how many remember that series. And which means I'm going to have to bring back part 2. So eventually, if you don't know where this is leading, it's leading right back to where we used to be. We're going to get to a point where we're coming out with brand new Locust Lakes, and I'm going to end up writing the third chapter of Dreamscape. At least I hope Doughboy's still going to let me do that. I imagine he probably will. Yeah, she is. Thank you very much, Kim. Oh yeah, no, I get you. But trying to forget. I did have something else I wanted to say, and now I completely forgot what it was. Oh yeah. Oh, the Locust Lakes. No, I'm not gonna say beep. The Locust Lakes. So yeah, basically we got 2 more Locust Lakes to go. I'm sure you're all aware that next weekend is the Curse on Locust Lake. The story after that is Breaking the Curse on Locust Lake Part 1. And then the story after that is Breaking the Curse on Locust Lake Part 2. That's basically the big finale until we resurrect the series. We did do that. There's actually 3 stories that were told after that point, and then a bunch of side stories. One Halloween specific, the Locust Lake Journals, the Redcoat stories, which actually tie the Dreamscape series and a lot of the other stories from the channel to the Locust Lakes as well, which make everything one continuous existing within the same universe. So Doughboy is in the middle of creating, like, there's a Marvel universe and a Star Wars universe. I guess he's in the middle of creating a sociopathic universe. So that's basically where we're headed. Got to get these stories re-uploaded. Got to re-narrate the Dreamscapes. Obviously, because if I don't, and then we come out with like the Redcoat stories, they actually started to tie in. And there's already another series which we actually began with this channel. I just narrated it. It should be out in a couple of weeks. Not sure how many of you have heard What is Icarus? And there's another story before that has something to do with Icarus as well. It's right in the end of the story. That is also part of the Redcoat stories and stuff like that. So one big continuous universe, but we've got to get the other stories narrated, or when we get to that point, those connections won't make any sense. So we're about a year away.
No more face.
So it has been a good evening. I am thinking I might call the stream now. It's been just about 50 minutes, close to an hour, and I guess I'm about out of topics. I let you guys know what to expect in the future. Once again, I know it's coming up, and I'm probably going to get asked. I will not be doing a 13 days of Halloween this year, just like I didn't last year, because I can't, because I only read exclusive stories now, and I just don't have. I can't write 13 miniature stories. It just would take too much, and I can't narrate 13 large scale stories in a row that are also self-written. It's a little bit too much. I just don't have the time to do all that right now. But again, just wanted to go ahead and put that out there too. But we have tons of time before we have to get to Halloween. But yeah, just wanted to give you guys some updates. What's coming up with the channel? What's going on with the Locust Lakes? Some of the other stories. All heroes don't wear capes. Again, been getting some requests for that, and I just can't do any other series while I got a series running, or every month becomes repetitive. It's a Locust Lake, it's a Dreamscape, and it's a not all heroes wear capes. Boom, boom, boom. Every single 1, 2, 3 first 3 weeks of the month, and just wouldn't work. So one series at a time, but we will get there. And love you guys. Love you guys. Absolutely. Thanks for chatting with me, Warrior. Thanks for showing up early for the pre-party, calming me down a little bit before the stream. Kim, really glad you were able to show up, and really happy that you like the Locust Lake stories. I really like the Locust Lake stories as well. They are my babies. They are Doughboy's babies. They are brainchilds. They are precious to me, and very, very honored that you enjoy them. Always try to put a lot of work into them. I know all the voice actors that do lines for them really try to do a lot of work, a lot of good work, a lot of good voice acting, and the one that's coming up, really, really strong. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. But okay, I guess I'm going to sign off here. I want to thank you guys for stopping in. If you guys are around tomorrow, don't miss out on the 8 o'clock premiere of The Fence Down the $1 Million Highway, which is a rake story, by the way. So, Skinwalker. Anyways, hope you guys have a great night. Hope to see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Thanks a ton for tuning into the live stream. Keep an eye out for the remix of this story. Really, 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 really hope you guys enjoyed it. A lot of work goes into writing the stories. A lot of love goes into these videos. And love you all. Thanks a ton for being here. And I'll catch you guys hopefully tomorrow. Bye-bye.